special education disability rights attorney as well, which is what inspired me to dress up as Wonder Woman, which is my primary cosplay. And I actually started a nonprofit based around us cosplayers, so I'll let you guys know more about that later.
Hello everyone, my name is Richard Citrone. I've been a performer in films for about the last 25 years. I've had a passion for this type of thing ever since I was a kid. I love superheroes. I love the whole science fiction genre. This type of stuff is really fun for me. I enjoy watching everybody in the cosplay community. I think there's some super talented people out there. I've worn some really cool suits in films. I've been really, really fortunate. And I'll tell you, like a lot of these suits come really close or is just as good as the suits in the film. I mean, there's some talented people out there, and it's really fun to see. And I'm enjoying it.
If Richard's not going to do the full brag, I'll do it for him. But take a look at that magnificent jaw. And he does stunts for Ben Affleck. Might be familiar with some of the suits in the audience.
He's also at the end of the solo.
Yeah. And next we have the founder of Over30 Cosplay, John.
My name's John Callison, and as he said, I'm the founder of Over30 Cosplay, a group specifically here just for you guys in the audience. We're all about supporting you and making sure you get the publicity and attention that you deserve for the great work that you do. So that's our mission, our goal, and every single person here is here in support of that.
Hi, I'm Mary Schwacker. They call me Mare Bear because I'm a mother to everybody. I think I am the oldest at 55 on the panel.
Close, like,
okay.
You got me by 2.
Okay, I like that because I'm the baby of 6, so I love being the oldest finally on something, and especially on this panel, because over 30, 40, and 50, that would be me at 55. So I'm very happy to be here. Been doing cosplay since probably, well, I was a pirate, I am a pirate, outlaw pirate, since 2001 at the Renaissance Fair, and then I found this thing called cosplaying, and went to LA Comic-Con in 2014, and I've been hooked ever since.
All right, so everyone has a topic of expertise, and so phones out. I'm going to have each one of you give a 5-minute kind of presentation about your topic of speciality, and we'll go ahead and start at the end with Mary talking about social media and body image.
Okay, well again, I'm 55, and I am dressed as Angelina Jolie Maleficent. Do I think I'm her? No, but I feel good in what I did. I put this all together. I made my wings, and I feel good, confidence. I'm not the most svelte kind of person, as you can see. And I just feel good about myself. Like I said, I am overweight, and that should not deter you from not being in a costume and feeling good about yourself. Social media can be a little, Facebook and Instagram, they can be mean on there sometimes. They're called trolls. And that delete button is really what you should be using. Because nobody at whatever age you are should ever feel that you can't be who you are. Feel good in the costume you made. Presentation, I like how the Batman's out here. Getting me a little hot. And, okay, it's the rubber, isn't it? But I just like, social media is good. The younger group, I try to take under my wing because they, or sometimes bully. I'm not bullied at all. You can call me out anything, and I'm just not gonna, I don't care. I'm just gonna delete you. I'm here for any really age or the younger, to become more of a family. We're a family in what we do. And I love seeing all these faces out here because I see them on social media. I now get to hug them, especially Victoria. And it's just a nice feeling. It's a family to me. You guys are all a family to me, and I thank you.
And next, John.
Well, as I said, we started Over 30 Cosplay back about now 4 years ago, in 2015, and started with 157 people just because when I went to a con, walked in the door, I felt like the creepy old guy. And every single person I saw initially turned out to be in their 20s and 30s, and it was an awesome hobby, but I wanted to feel comfortable. So started meeting some of you guys, Alfredo and Mario in the audience, Jen, a bunch of different amazing people that I figured there had to be a way to connect us all so that we could go out, enjoy being there, enjoy that support, know other people, connect, make sure you had like somebody to walk with, somebody to ask costume choice with, advice on what to do with trolls, you know, etc. And this is how it became Over 30 Cosplay. We're at 61,700 something people in 45 countries. We have a panel in Germany this year, a panel in Australia this year. We've had, I think, 14 panels in the United States. And every single year we're growing, but it's not about us here at the table growing, it's about making sure you guys have somebody that's representing you. You can post your pictures, we'll take it, put it on the page, make sure that the social media that follows us is then following you. That's it.
Thank you, John. And breaking news, unfortunately, Jackie is having a major costume malfunction, so she will not be making it, and is in search of some acetone. Anywho. Richard, why don't you talk to us a little bit about fit and motion and things like that relating to costume?
Sure. Like I said, I've had a passion for this since I was a kid, and I was really fortunate to be able to perform in an industry where I can realize that passion and channel it. And you guys, I mean, I see the same passion with you guys. It's really, it's tough to be in a suit for 10, 12 hours and like just walking around Comic-Con. That's rough. Like bat suit here, and this guy here, this gentleman is like, I totally understand your pain. I almost died in that suit. I mean, I give you guys a lot of credit. It's really, really impressive to see, and I really do love that passion. I really do. It's interesting because when you're dealing with suits, there's always this fine line because the people that make the suits are amazing. I mean, they're really great people, but they're looking at the look of the suit, right? They want the beauty, they want everything to pop. But as the performer, you need functionality, right? You guys know that, I'm sure, right? So it's always this, you know, going back and forth, like, I know you like this, but can we take this out a little bit? It's hard to move my arms up like this. And I can tell you, you guys know this from the bat suit. I mean, just doing this is almost impossible, right? Right? It's really, yeah, looking up and turning your head is a lot better in BBS. Because I talked to some of my buddies who did stunts for the earlier Batman movies, and they couldn't turn their heads at all. So at least I had a latex cowl where I could turn my head pretty easily. But it's tough. It's tough to move around. And, you know, as those characters, you have to look like you're good. You have to look like you're fast and you're agile. And, you know, you're in a 30-pound rubber suit and trying to move, and it's just fighting you at every moment, you know. So, again, I love what you guys do, and I give you guys a lot of credit.
both, favorite and least.
Well, latex is awesome. Right? Most of the suits I've worn are latex. So by the time I wore the bat suit, I had seriously thousands of hours in a latex suit. So I knew exactly what to expect. They're really cool. There's a lot of cool things you can do with it, but it's tough. It's tough to, it doesn't breathe, really. Like I did a movie called Cabin in the Woods. And I was it was a cool movie, guys. Yeah, it's a good movie. And I was the werewolf and I was the merman. And that merman suit is insane because basically all you can do is lay on your stomach, lay on your right side, or lay on your left side. That's it. And you might think, oh, that's not so bad. I can lay down, right? But after 12 hours, you just want to stand up. You're dying to stand up. So I was in that suit for 12 hours, and that was rough. And the nicest material I like, and I don't know what it's called, you guys probably do, but I wore it on the Vision suit, and I wore it in Man of Steel when I was a Terran. It's a stretchy type, a plasticky type material. I'm not sure what it's called.
Like a four-way stretch, maybe?
Yeah, but it's really nice to perform. You have a little light muscle suit underneath, and you put that on top of it, and that was basically what the Vision suit was. And it's super easy to move around, and I love those suits.
Very cool. Victoria.
Hello, everybody. Basically, what got me into cosplay is really why I'm still in cosplay. I represent children with special needs, and it's been such a huge passion of mine that I've pretty much immersed myself in every area that anybody with a disability would need support, from the prisons to the Senate, to schools, to public buildings. And my goal with everything was always to learn how to make the world for people with disabilities better. It's always been my passion. And so when my clients that were children with disabilities started telling me that I looked like their Wonder Woman, that I was their Wonder Woman, they called me the real Wonder Woman before I even put on a suit. They would tell me to wear it. They'd say, you look like Linda Carter, you should dress up like her. And so I did. I started dressing up as Wonder Woman because of my clients, and they were the ones that gave me the name Wonder Woman is Real. I put it out there to them, and I said, what should I name myself? Apparently, I didn't know what cosplay was. So when I wore my first costume and I decided I wanted to be part of these cool people, I asked my clients, and they all voted on Wonder Woman is Real as my name. So that's not even my name that I made up. That was a bunch of really amazing children who have changed my life. But the reason why I still keep cosplaying, and a little known fact if you don't read my captions and you just look at my pictures, I only do this for those children. I have a very stressful, busy life with my own two children who are now adults with autism. And on top of that, I have my own law practice. But cosplaying and starting the Real League of Justice, which is the nonprofit that we started as cosplayers, we decided we want to take it another level. We definitely believe, and I want to push the culture, that we who believe in superheroes and dress up as them should take it to the next step and actually act like superheroes, because there aren't enough of them in the world. The culture of our society is degrading, and we all know it. Suicide rates are increasing. Children with disabilities and the services that were available to them are not there anymore, and I know this for a fact because I am fighting for them. The things I could get my children when they were 3 are no longer easy or even accessible to children who are 3 today. That is not okay. This is walking, talking, and living. That's what I fight for. I'm not fighting for dolphin therapy. I'm fighting for a child to speak or use the bathroom. And when those services are no longer being provided by the agencies that were created and funded to do it, and they're keeping that money for themselves, that's a real cultural problem. And I no longer want to sit back and do nothing about it. And so I believe that for us to go the next step and make our lives better of people around us with disabilities or with any other need, that's what we should be striving for. If we want a culture where we no longer have to open our Instagram, our Facebook, or turn on our TV and ask ourselves, what is happening in this world? Is it hopeless? Because that is what makes me depressed. If you want to know what causes my sadness and what makes me cosplay, is that I can't stand going to bed at night and wondering what world we're living in, because that's not what I want to be living in. And so my goal is to help move all of us forward in believing that we can make a difference. Every little step that every one of you does for your friend, for your family member who has a disability, for someone who's just in need. But what we're doing is we want to take it as an inspiration for what we do and hope that that can be an example for any other choice that anybody else wants to make. I definitely love and believe and push towards anybody who does children's charities, cosplay visits, do anything that you can to change your environment, to change the world. For us, the level that we're going is our nonprofit is going to, every time we have a child come to us who is in need, we are not only going to fight their legal battles without stress of wondering where they're going to get the money to fight for their kids' services, we are also going to provide those services if we lose in court. Because every child should have the right to read, to talk, to speak, and to live, and that is what we're fighting for. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to create a nonprofit where we are going to fight their legal battles, but then also wrap around their home environment. If you have or know of any child with special needs, you will know that their home life also has problems and they don't have anywhere to go for it. Either funding or structural difficulties or food sometimes, dietary needs. There's all kinds of hundreds of millions of things that makes our lives more complicated and more different, and there is nothing out there to help them. And I want to change that. I want to eventually get to where we are taking on a family, wrapping around, helping their legal fights, also with Batsy and Superman, who is an engineer and a safety engineer, build structural differences in their houses based off of their need. For example, we have a child right now who is blind, and she cannot walk because she is blind, not because she doesn't have the ability to walk, but she cannot balance where she's going or knows where anything is in her house because she's blind. And so we are already tackling with Batsy to go into the home and see where she can have structural changes, environmental things that she can touch so that she can even learn where her bathroom is, where her bedroom is, so she doesn't have to sleep on the floor. Like, that is not living a normal life, and that is her future right now, and we don't want that to keep happening. So with that, we plan on changing these families' lives. Hopefully we plan on maybe taking this to a TV show, because I feel like if we take it to the TV, we can get sponsorship, but also getting everybody else to see what these children's lives are like, and you can go and help someone change something in their home because you saw something. If it doesn't take all of us, nothing will change. But if we all work together and expect a difference when it comes to humanity and how we treat the most vulnerable of our society, then we're making an actual difference, and we really can change the world.
Sherman, this is what it feels like when I go to karaoke and I have to sing after Bonnie Gordon. But, here's Sherman.
Hi, once again. You guys, cosplay, when I was a kid, it didn't exist. We called it dressing up for Halloween, and that was my big cosplay, was dressing up. Cosplay changed my life, because when I was a kid, the only thing I knew was waking up like this every day, and I waited and waited for Halloween. Halloween was my Christmas, because that was the only day that I could not have to be myself and wake up like this. I could be anybody that I wanted, and that was kind of my saving grace. And when it comes to when things actually start to be called cosplay, it just kind of went to a whole different level. My actual cosplay started on Halloween of 2012 in Las Vegas, where my then 8-year-old daughter, because we like to dress up so much for Halloween, was really just upside down because I couldn't find anything really cool for us to do. And she goes, "Daddy, we're not going to find anything to do for cosplay." And she goes, "For Halloween." And I go, "It's going to be okay, boss." And she says, "Do the Green Mile guy." You gotta go with your strengths. And I gotta tell you, that night, I went out and got some overalls, and it absolutely changed my life. Up until that point, I never knew what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. I didn't, career-wise or anything, and this was, like I said, 2008, I think I was maybe 48 at the time, and I still didn't know. I was just doing all kinds of other little odd jobs and things of that nature. But once I put the overalls on, a whole different light came on. The way people looked at me, the way on Halloween, where every house we went to, they were just giving us all of their candy, saying, "You've won Halloween." And so from that point on, I just had visions in my head of turning this thing. How could I turn this? Because I loved it so much, and I knew I couldn't stop. I knew something magical was happening. How I could turn it into something that I could do for the rest of my life and profit from it, you know, and be able to get other people involved. More importantly, to be able to set a foundation for my family, and the rest of my life, basically, and turn it into a business. And so that's what I've done. I've been able to brand myself as the Mile. You know, when you find something for yourself, and I know a lot of you out there still, you know, don't actually know where you want to go, even at, you know, the age. I'm 52. Yeah, gotcha. And being 52 at this point, it's never too late to start to try to find something for yourself. You never can tell when it's going to come, where it's going to come, or how it's going to come. It can be something so simple as a little fluke, which wasn't a fluke at all, because everything that happens the way that it happens, because that's the way that it's supposed to happen. And I'm a firm believer in that way of fact. And I got to tell you, Victoria, I absolutely love what you had to say. The kids, it's a big thing. Kids who don't even know about the Green Mile, you know, for some reason or another, this particular character just gives some kind of hope and inspiration to all people of color. I've had guys, bikers, skinheads, races, you just come to me and just want to take my hands, give me a hug, and get a little bit of inspiration. And that to me is more powerful than anything if you can give something to somebody who needs it. That's one of the most important things about this. And I'm just happy to be alive. I love the diversity of the cosplay. This particular Comic-Con, because my first time here in 2013, I could pretty much count on my hands and toes of how many people of my nature were cosplaying and dressing up. And so I just kept digging in, and I talked to people, and people would ask me things about it. You know, hey, don't you feel funny doing it or anything? At first, for a split second, I did feel funny, but now it just feels natural. You know, it feels like it's okay to be outside of yourself. It's okay to not be yourself, you know? It's okay to feel like you want to feel and to feel good about yourself, and if it takes putting on overalls or a Superman suit or Wonder Woman or anything like that, if it helps you on the inside, it helps everything.
And being evil is okay too.
I have bad evils. On that note, I will tell you guys, if you've never cosplayed as a villain, try it. It's so fun. Speaking of villainous or nefarious, I felt bad that we lost the panelist, so I've decided I'm going to call someone up out of the crowd to be another panelist, because I like a little bit of improv. And we do have an incredibly talented costume designer who is also over 30 and designs for a lot of people that are over 30, including this lovely gown that I'm wearing. So Chad Hatter, if you would come up to the dais. There's stairs over there. And just for you, I'm going to stand in heels for the rest of the panel.
This is so cool. I feel like I'm on the Ellen Show.
So talk to us a little bit about, as a designer, what you do for various people in our age group to make us more comfortable in these costumes.
Okay, so what Bernie's wearing is his Mugatu costume. And as a designer, what I do is it's alarming. God, I'm so flustered. I wasn't expecting this. There's a lot more people.
You can do it, Chad.
I don't want to speak after Victoria. Will you run for the Senate? I was sitting back there next to Lucille Ball and the doctor, and I'm just like, I want her to be president. Like, I will vote for you today.
I worked for a senator, and I was actually going to run for office, and it was when I saw the immense amount of corruption that I couldn't tolerate is when I started cosplaying. Because I couldn't cosplay as an elected staff person. Like, you can't do that. It's considered very weird. And so as soon as I left that world, I was like, boom, I'm dressing up all the time. And here's kind of the point with that. I've realized our elected officials are not who are going to lead us anymore. They are not leading us. That's why we need to create new people in our cultures that can be leaders. And I'm willing for it to be anybody else. Don't think I have to be me, like, but if it needs to be, if I can be one of those people, fine, I'll be one of those people. My senator is the one that told me, she said, when you see a need for leading, then lead. Don't wait for someone to lead or you'll never change anything. So that's the only reason why I'm doing this. Otherwise, I'd be home taking care of my babies. Go ahead, continue with your awesomeness.
Well, I please. I'm only awesome because I'm up here with you guys. No, what I do is okay, so what was the question? How do I facilitate costumes for?
When you're designing and kind of costuming for making us a little more comfortable and
yeah.
I have a question for you.
how you make us look better.
How can you adjust the way that the style of the costume is supposed to be for accuracy, but yet you're dealing with like different curves on somebody?
Okay, so let me tell you a little story.
In under 5 minutes.
Under 5 minutes? Oh, honey. Anyone who was at the panel yesterday knows I can easily do it in under 5 minutes. When you guys were there, you saw. I'm sort of known for cosplaying the Mad Hatter because I love him so much. And the day in 2009, and I told this story yesterday, that I announced I was going to do the Mad Hatter, the first comment that appeared on it was, "You're too fat to be Johnny Depp." And I was like, am I allowed to curse? Are there kids in the audience? I was just like, how dare you? And what I did was I looked at the costume and I said, okay, it works. The bizarre proportions on Johnny work because he's as skinny as a rail. And I said, okay, how can I take this from what it looks like visually in the movie and adapt it not only for my body type, but also to work in reality? So you look at Will Ferrell, who plays Mugatu, and he's very boxy, and Bernie is not boxy. So,
I'm sorry.
flex Bernie, flex. So what I did for Bernie was I added something as simple as adding seams. Like if you'll notice, he's got these princess seams that come down on either side of the opening, and there's a T across the back, and we didn't put shoulder pads in it because it needed to fit a certain way, but also this is 4-way stretch fabric. And the one in the movie is not 4-way stretch. So from a comfort level, he can exist in reality because it breathes better than the one in the movie would have, and it moves better than the one in the movie would have. For example, if you're on a movie set, you're in a controlled environment. He could easily get into an Uber if he wanted to. He could stand in line for Starbucks and be fine, but you can't do those things in the movie. You know this, on a movie set, everything is so, sort of structured. Bringing a costume into reality, there are ways to do it where it looks screen accurate, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. And I'm a firm believer that you can wear whatever you want, and you should wear whatever you want. My favorite saying is, if you've got a hunchback, throw glitter on it and go dancing. Because if I had listened to that one belligerent neophyte when he said that I was too fat to be the Hatter, I wouldn't be known as Chad Hatter today. I'd be known as Chad Didn't Do It. And let me tell you, that does not have as nice of a rhyme to it as Chad Hatter. It's so succinct and easy. So I hope that was under 5 minutes.
That was under 5 minutes. That was fantastic. So, the reason that I came into this group and enjoy doing this panel, because I don't panel too often, is the message of inclusion. And I do a lot of events. I produce events. I produce nightclubs and parties and masquerades and things like that, and midnight movie screenings and stuff. And to me, it's all about inclusion. I started a company called Nerds Like Us almost 10 years ago. And it was to find other people like me, other nerds like us, and to get together and enjoy the things that we enjoy, and maybe not as loud and proud. And it's different now. It's a totally different time where kind of we now dominate pop culture. We dominate the box office. We dominate entertainment. And that's really, really cool. But we didn't have that then. And so, I wanted to create places that we could gather and be amongst like-minded people. Now that I'm doing nightclubs and parties, did anyone go to Ready Party 1 on Wednesday? Or
Yes. I did.
Awesome. And then we did the throwback with Rufio as the DJ on Thursday. So stuff like that, to me, is super fun, but it's also super inclusive. Most of us probably don't go clubbing very often, because it's not always a comfortable place for nerds. But if you create a club for nerds, and it's all about inclusion, but also safety, super important. And I don't need to belabor the point, but our code of conduct is out there for anyone to read.
It was awesome.
Thank you, Stevie. To me, it's all about creating those spaces so that we can continue to mainstream and make everything that everybody else does something that we can do. And that's what I love about doing this panel, is that sometimes cosplay seems like a younger person's game. And on social media, a lot of the times it is, if we're being honest. But that's really only in terms of kind of monetizing the hobby, which is fine. I do not cast any shade on any of them. But it's something that none of us should feel like we can't do. And just because we don't have a specific body type, we can't do a particular character. You can do absolutely anything you want to do, because it's really about whether or not you have fun. It's about how you feel about it. It's not about how anybody else feels about it. And there's different ways to do it. I have a way that I choose to cosplay, because that's going to be fun for me. And if you've seen most of my characters, I'm usually the only person that does that character, with a few exceptions. And it was only until the last year that I started doing Marvel characters. And Chad made my Doctor Strange, and I do Tony Stark. But those two aside, and really a lot of that was actually also inclusion, just because you guys all do those freaking awesome meetups and stairwell photo shoots, and I'm like, damn, I never get to go to that. And I just wanted to be able to be a part of the fun. But most of the time I do crazy stuff like this, and my first one was Dark Helmet from Spaceballs, which does not speak to the kids at all. and for me, it's I'll get stopped for photos in certain characters, but then there's other characters where it's just, and especially if it's you guys, if it's our age group, people will walk by and it's like, and I love that reaction, maybe the best of all. Yesterday I was running around as WCW and WWE Hall of Famer Ric Flair. And y'all heard me before you saw me, that's for sure. But it's fun to perform as those characters and to be them, and then to get that recognition from my people, right? Some of the kids thought I was the Collector or something like that. They think that too in this. If I'm in a platinum wig and I look like I'm in a crazy crushed velvet outfit, I must be the Collector. And I'm like, oh, you sweet summer child.
I thought you were Gilroy Lockhart from behind. Which is really sad because I made the costume.
Chad also made my Ric Flair, bro. But anyway, that's what it's about for me, is something that's inclusion in our group, and I think it's a lot of fun. And I challenge you to break stereotype. I challenge you to break pattern. I challenge you to do something oddball and off the wall. It does when John does Ming the Merciless, which is just incredible costume. Probably only 10 or 15% of the convention gets it, but damn do we appreciate that. And it is spectacular.
Can I add something to your challenge?
Yes.
If you have the strength to just step outside your comfort zone and cosplay, you have the strength to be able to do anything. For sure. Once I did this, I knew that I could do anything, and so it gave me the strength to try stand-up, acting, modeling. It absolutely changed my life. So if you have just that much of an inkling to try something different, and you have the balls to do it, you can do anything.
I just wanted to get outside my comfort zone for a minute.
Like this is at all outside of your comfort zone.
So we do have, thank you to all the panelists for being very timely as a moderator. I love that. We have 15 minutes for Q&A, which is awesome. So start putting the hands up and I'll start getting the questions. Yes, Sailor.
So as we get of a more advanced age, temperature becomes more and more of a problem.
Yes.
How do you design, and when you're wearing the suits, what do you do to stay cool? Especially San Diego is not the coolest
I've
place
got
in the
that.
world.
So, yeah, let me quick address that for the heavyweight costumes, and then I'll let Victoria talk to like the build and stuff, but look into and investing in multiple sclerosis, cooling vests, and cooling outfits. They're ice packs, they're electric battery operated, there's different versions of them, and if you're wearing like a full suit EVA foam outfit or something that has a head suit, they're skin tight, they keep you at 68 degrees to 65 degrees for 7 hours to 8 hours. Your body is normal underneath this heavy, crazy costume. And one of the panelists that we're gonna be here, Ryan Wells, who you probably have seen with the Gartham Beetle from Dark Crystal, he taught me that. It's amazing what can be done with those. So then on costume design, Victoria.
I was just gonna say, what I try to do is I try to pick costumes also for the weather of the con, which is something I learned after my first year last year. I've been doing this 2 years now. Definitely wear cooler clothes at hot cons and not the other way around, because I did that really badly. But in the design, I think what it is looking at the fabric, looking at the movement. I think for women, one of the hardest things for us though is also getting the look that we want along with movement. But we always have to take temperature into account, and then if you need to be also willing, which we did this week, to say it's too hot to wear that as much as I want to wear it. Like Wasp, I was gonna wear it, and we were just, there's no point. I pass out for doing that.
Reasonable choice, yeah. The very first costume I wore, I passed out literally an hour into wearing the costume. Woke up, it was a Tron outfit built on an actual wetsuit. Walking around.
Oh, neoprene, dude,
Yeah.
that's the worst.
A heavy cold weather wetsuit, because it could the only thing that could deal with the structure of the wiring. And someone stopped, it was at LA Comic Con, someone stopped to ask for a picture. And the next thing I knew, I was looking into a paramedic's face. And lovely, the paramedic had cut open the suit to give me some breathing.
That got a bigger reaction than him passing out. Priorities.
Right. Yeah.
We're like pass out, whatever.
If you're lucky, you get a character that sweats like mine. He's always sweaty, so it doesn't really bother me to be sweaty.
Can I also add something else though on that topic? I know for me, at this point, I've gotten to where I design costumes around my own physical issues as well. I always wear a corset now at cons, and I always try to wear Z-coil shoes because of my back. All the walking, all the posing can really start causing back injuries for a lot of us. And so do what you can to also put protections into your costume.
Insoles and pads.
Z-coils. You don't need any of that when you got Z-coils, just saying.
I wanted to add too, costume design is illusion. Another thing to keep in mind, when you look at, and again, our lovely stuntman over here will probably back me up on this, that when you see a costume in a movie, you're not seeing what you think you're seeing. So I spent the last 2 days as Doctor Strange, and my Doctor Strange cloak is made out of about 6 yards of Italian wool with linen embroidered over the top of it, and it weighs about 8 pounds, which doesn't seem like a lot, but after an hour it is. but the back of my tunic is all Under Armour. So the front of it is layers of linen with embroidery and the big belt and everything, but everything underneath it is a single layer of Under Armour. And so there's nothing between my back and the cloak except for that. And it helps immensely because you get a good breeze and you're wearing a cape and you turn into it and the back just inflates and it's heaven. So one other thing I wanted to add too is don't be a hero. Like it's great to get photos, but you also don't need a con to get photos of yourself in a costume. And
No, I haven't learned that lesson. I sweat.
Yeah, see, well, and you're all in black.
And I sweat. Then I sweat.
Yeah.
On safety, the photographers, since I have quite a few photographers in here, safety. It's great. If you got the confidence, you want a good picture. Feel good in your costume, the photographer is going to help you. But for the safety of the photographers and for yourself, let's us older ones try to teach the younger ones, always have somebody with you. Never go alone when somebody wants to set up a photographer's shoot. The photographer should know, never alone. That saves them the hassle and us the hassle.
And also, knowing your limits, and to that point, Richard, do you have like kind of set time limits when you're in, let's say, the bat suit or something like that, or the merman, something like that, and then you have to like break every so often?
Yeah, not really.
So you get the shot, right?
The budget of the movie and staying on schedule usually outweighs my personal needs, so I have to be prepared for it. But the people are handlers that have made the costumes and put us into the costumes. They're very well aware of it most of the time. So they take care of us. They have fans on us whenever we're not shooting, and they always make sure we have something to drink. So it can be tough, but in times it's probably not as tough as what you guys do, because you guys at least, you're walking around and you don't have anybody necessarily there to take care of you, but on set we usually do. And it can get tough sometimes because the production's pushing you, but you just got to train for it, be ready for it.
All right, next question in the back right there.
My question is for Victoria. You mentioned disappearing programs and services for kids with special needs. What kind of websites or books or resources can you look into to educate ourselves on this?
And we have about 6 total minutes to squeeze questions.
That's a really good question and a really difficult place. I think that honestly, I don't even know if anybody's written about this or publicized about this, but that's a really good point. I know just from advocating within the systems and watching the systems degrade and the judicial system degrade along with it, and the kind of services that children are getting just degrading. So I guess I should write something because there needs to be more awareness. Yeah. I'll write it for the information, but I really want everybody to know it's like not about me. Please don't think it's about me.
All right, next question is back there.
I have a lot of very hard costumes that I do, but I feel and I want to do student costumes. So I love student costumes, and I feel here. I feel like I'm supposed to be a teacher. But I want to be a student too. And so when I went to the Universal, totally dressed up, I was able to be, working with a lot of samples. I think the good thing I'm also dressed up. We're honored to be a kid. But how do you feel feeling like I'm too old?
I have an answer for that. Because I get this question a lot from people who want to wear their, for those of you who couldn't hear, she basically wants to know how can you dress up as a Harry Potter, like a Hogwarts student, as an older person. Go as alumni. And I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking. And this is where you can take whatever character you want and tweak it to make sense. Go and get, if you don't die of heat stroke, go get a black blazer and wear it under the robe to show that you have graduated Hogwarts, and get all the appropriate pins and proudly say, yeah, I'm a Hogwarts alumni and I'm visiting. Because when you go to Oxford or any other British school and you go back, they're in the exact same uniform with the difference of they have a blazer. So that's my answer.
I definitely think there's a mindset to that because I've done shoots like they were saying out in the community or whatever. I remember specifically one of my shoots for She-Hulk down in the Oregon Pavilion in San Diego. I had a group of kids watching my shoot on stage, laughing and making jokes about me being older and doing cosplay with a photographer. And I just owned it.
Yep.
The more you get into it and the more you're like, "Arr," the more they're gonna be like, well, I guess nothing's gonna faze this person. Don't let them bother you. It's you. You own you. You walk and you strut your stuff and forget what anybody
Use your passion for fandom as a shield, and you will be fine. I would also add to the Hogwarts discussion very quickly that you can also just fashion accessorize yourself in the colors of your house, and you don't have to be a student. But if you want to, freaking go for it. I went as a student to the one in Orlando, full robes, prefect badge, and everything. So let's have one more question, and then we're going to wrap up. You, sir, right there with the necklace. Yes.
So I just hit a particular age of 40.
Congratulations, happy birthday.
Can you do the outgoing message on my answering machine?
Right here, boss.
Damn it!
So I didn't feel old until another cosplayer came up and said, "Oh my goodness, you guys are my cosplay parents." But I own it. So my question is for Mayor Bear, if you don't mind.
Yes.
What other encouragement can you give? Because I want to own it. I don't like it. It's not a big deal to me. But how do you own that? And what other encouragement can we give our cosplay children?
How do I own it? Well, I've always been a hey, look at me kind of personality. So, let's see. I just do it. My family, some of my family members, some of my friends, they think I'm odd. God, are you doing that thing again? Yes, and I'm owning it, and I am Maleficent. Let them get to you. You cannot let them get to you. Are you happy about it?
If we have time for it.
As the 39-year-old in a skin-tight leopard print gown with pleather high heels and a hand fan, can we earmuff the kids for a second? When the haters come around, I don't give a fuck.
In response to your question,
There's one thing I would like to add to that. Just everybody does not have to have that outgoing, super crazy personality. It's great when you do, but if you don't, there are ways to actually have the costume and hide your age. The very first costumes I did were all full face body armor. So everybody, the first interview I did, took off the helmet and MTV said, "Oh my God, you're old." You just have to pick something that makes you comfortable, and we can help you with that.
Yeah.
and I got to tell you, because I look young, I'm actually 52, like I said. I have people who
2000.
when they find out how old I am, they're more impressed with the fact that my age, you can still do it. It gives even people that are older, I approach people that are older than me who are into cosplay, and I want to be their cosplay child, you understand? Because they're the people that are the ground breakers. They're the ones that you can learn from. So be proud to be a cosplay parent because you can teach the kids something.
That's exactly.
All right, so we have to wrap up, so I'd like to go down the line and have everyone give out your Instagram or where we can find you so that everyone can A, please follow us, and B, ask us more questions afterwards. We're obviously going to go straight outside to no pictures inside, please, so we can clear for the next panel, but we will go straight outside for pictures. But go ahead and start at the end there with Mary, and we'll come down the line.
I'm not very private, so you can find me at Mary Schwacker. Sorensen's my maiden name. And my lovely husband at 34 years we've been married. And he used to do this with me, but he's just like, no, you go ahead, honey, I'm good. The crowds are too much for him. But our first time, I'm sorry, we're supposed to get out of here right now. 1998, we won our first, he was John F. Kennedy and I was Marilyn Monroe. At that time, I was a little skinnier. But we did win first prize. But anyways, yes, you can just follow me here. Mayor Bear, just put in Mayor Bear for Instagram.
Yay!
Cosplay, you can find me.
That too, yeah. I was just gonna say, you can find me at Over 30 Cosplay, Over 40 Cosplay, Over 50 Cosplay, Over 60 Cosplay, and Over 70 Cosplay. All of those sites exist. They're all on Facebook, and they're either affinity groups or ways to track you, help you find other people and connect. Paris Pantera on Instagram, Over 30 Cosplay on Twitter, Facebook, every site you can think, plus a website. And we soon may have a dating site.
Very cool.
You can find me on Instagram at StuntBatman, or occasionally I'm on Twitter at 300Stuntman.
Awesome.
You can find me on Instagram and Facebook as Wonder Woman is Real. Twitter is W Woman is Real. But what's most important to me is that you follow our Real League of Justice on Instagram and Facebook. It's just now starting up. We don't take donations yet, but eventually this law firm / world changer is going to be the Real League of Justice.
Yes.
Once again, my name is Sherman. Friends call me Tank, and you can find me on Instagram at Tank Smile. On Facebook, I have a page called The Mile, and it's a pleasure to be with all of you today.
So you can find me on Instagram as Chad Hatter, all one word, like Mad Hatter, but Chad Hatter. And one final thought I just wanted to say, don't ever take offense when people say, oh my God, you're old. Because if you're old, it means you have survived.
I'm Bernie Breaker from The Geek Gatsby, at The Geek Gatsby, at Nerds Like Us for following my events. And before cosplay, Rocky Horror is what I did. The one lesson that I take from that and I impart to all of you is don't dream it, be it.
Last thing, if you are in costume and want a photo shoot with the group, we generally, and I think Robert's here with some time, we have a couple professional photographers that will set us up somewhere as a group, and you would.
And I'm going to be the jerk for the rest of the staff. We're all going to go right out that door right now.